everybody, and welcome into the First in Football podcast. Today is November 1st, 2023. Hope everybody had a happy Halloween out there. I'm Justin Sutton here in Green Bay.
Mike Rosenthal in the minivan again.
Mobile shows on the Wednesdays.
Yeah.
So did you get any good candy or anything for Halloween, Mike? You go trick-or-treating, or are you a little too old for that?
Little too old. The kid's only 3 months old. Shot a deer this weekend, or I talked about that on the last episode. So
Hey,
that's my candy. Back
still,
straps.
still pumped about it, I see.
Yeah.
I would be
Back
too.
straps, baby.
Oh, yeah. So what do we want to get into here? How good the Lions were or how bad the Raiders were on that Monday night game?
We know how bad the Raiders were. They imploded their entire team.
Good for
I
them on
guess
that.
the biggest thing I have is Jameer Gibbs, baby. I've been saying his name. Finally, everybody's been saying his name, and seeing him have a breakout game like this shows you what a first round running back should do.
Yes.
And it's going to be really interesting to see what happens when Montgomery comes back, how they're going to divvy that up because Gibbs is explosive. Is it going to be the whole Montgomery end zone guy plowing into the end zone? Gibbs is going to take him there. But they look great. And Jimmy G, what was that? 0 catches by a receiver in the first half, and you have Devontae Adams on your team.
Yeah, that was pitiful.
It's like you have so many games where you're just saying, give the ball to Devontae. What are we
Yeah.
doing?
I mean, the 98 yarder that he missed, it's like that's understandable. You're deep in your end zone. You're getting super pressured. Like you're an NFL quarterback, but I'll give you a pass. You got NFL dudes crushing you right there. But the other one later in the game, that was egregious. That was horrible. That was like, yeah.
I mean, the Lions are going on a bye. They're going to come back, and I mean, their team's going to be even deeper and more healthy coming back from that bye week. So they're an exciting team to watch. They're fun to watch. I guess we can probably just dive right into the notable news of the Las Vegas Raiders and what happened there.
Yeah, one quick note on that Lions game, dude. Those Honolulu blue helmets are absolutely pimping. That was amazing. Those look so good. But yeah, the Raiders, I mean, they fired Josh McDaniels. They got rid of their GM. I think it's Dave Ziegler. It's like good for them. Like I don't know. I personally I think the whole Patriot way thing is dead, just given modern NFL rules and everything. It's like it's so hard to win that way and like run a team that way. And I mean, if you're gonna do it like that, if you're gonna hire someone from the Belichick tree, it's like you kind of have to give them like a 5-year leash. Like that takes a long time to get going. Like, I mean, I think Mike Vrabel's the only dude that to be successful from Belichick's tree, and it's like it took him a while, but it's like they stuck with it, and some people can, some people can't stick with it, and the Raiders, they decided enough was enough. I mean, I think when they played the Packers, you could literally see Mark Davis call Josh McDaniels an asshole on national television. So, I mean, at that point, it was kind of like you could kind of, there's where there's smoke, there's fire. So,
I mean, Bill Belichick can't even follow the Belichick ways.
Yeah,
so.
I really think that ultimately for Mark Davis, it was watching the gold jacket talent that Devontae Adams is be literally, absolutely, and utterly wasted. I mean, like it was on clear display. Like it wasn't just like, oh, he dropped the pass or like, if that throw was a little better. No, it's like this is complete mismanagement. They are straight up wasting him.
Yeah, even Josh Jacobs, he's not anywhere close to Devontae, but after the season last year, and then you get supposedly, I would say, what people would have thought would be an equal quarterback to Derek Carr with Jimmy Garoppolo coming in. Like, you think that he'd be able to run the system somewhat more efficiently and at least be able to dish the ball to Devontae. But this team completely imploded from their explosiveness in the run game last year. It's just, there's a reason that it imploded. And then the other big change there, besides the firing, I think the quarterback coach got bumped up to OC. And then they announced today that Aiden O'Connell's going to be the starter and they're benching Jimmy G.
Wow, I did not see that. Well, I mean, that's you might as well. I mean, he looks just about as good as Jimmy already. And honestly, when they nabbed Jimmy, I did not know how well that was going to work, just simply because he was already trending downward at the end of his tenure there in San Fran with Kyle Shanahan, the QB guru. So it's like once he leaves that, I'm not going to say I was optimistic. I wouldn't say I was skeptical, but I was just kind of like, I don't know. We'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, the whole Sam Fran theory of throw anybody in there and they're going to do what Brock Purdy's doing. Well,
Yeah.
Jimmy Garoppolo didn't. He was trending down.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're right. I mean, I guess I had a little more hope for him. He should be better than what he is, but bench him, man. I think that's a great call. Let's see what the rookie can do.
Yeah, I mean that rookies look great. I mean he looks better. I mean for Pete's sake, he's at least comparable to Jordan Love, if not better, right now. And the kid's fresh out
Yeah.
of the 4th round or something like that out of Purdue. So it's like, yeah, let him roll. So
Yeah.
yeah. Some other notable news here besides the Raiders making the biggest headlines. I mean, all the trades that went down yesterday was the trade deadline, 4 p.m. Eastern. I mean, I think the biggest one that stands out to me was Chase Young to the 49ers for just about, a bag
for free.
of chips. Yeah. And it's like that's nuts. I mean, he hasn't quite lived up to expectation. He's been pretty injured. I heard that knee injury that he had was a bit more devastating than was pretty much let out, and as we're finding out now. So I think it kind of maybe physically changed him as a player a bit. So I wouldn't expect to see a top 5, overall talent out there, but I mean, he's probably going to look like a first round talent out there, considering he's got other first round talents on that line also eating up blocks and double teams and stuff like that.
Yeah, he doesn't have to play all the time.
Exactly.
I mean, that team just gets stacked and more stacked. And on the defensive side, it's like, oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, they're going to be elite. But
hey, is that the one that stood out for you too? Was Chase Young?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Or just the fact that the Commanders got rid of both of their edge rushers.
Yeah, that's pretty big. Sweat and Young. I mean, with Sweat, you kind of saw it coming, the whole free agent thing. What's the trade that really flew under the radar for you that you think nobody's really talking about?
I mean, Donovan Peoples-Jones.
Yep, that's the same one I got, is to Detroit.
Going to the Lions. Ooh. I mean, they did that, I think, because what's the receiver's name that just retired for family issues for the Lions?
Marvin Jones.
Marvin Jones. So they're going to have him come in and help fulfill that role. And I mean, I think he's a known name, at least he has had good games. So
I think it's a win-win for both sides, personally. And I think he's probably going to do a little more for Detroit than what everybody might suspect.
They dish the ball more. I mean,
well, I look at it like so. For Cleveland, it's a win because he's coming up for a contract. They obviously aren't going to be able to pay him. They got that Deshaun Watson contract, Myles Garrett, Nick Chubb.
Who's practicing today?
Yeah. Wow.
Deshaun Watson's practicing today. I just saw that before coming out here.
Guess he likes to get his hands dirty once in a while. But anyways, so it's good for the Browns on that aspect. They get off a guy who they're probably not gonna be able to pay anyway. They at least, get something for him. I don't even know what the compensation was. I just saw he went to Detroit. For Detroit, I think Khalif Raymond is nothing more than a gadget guy. I think Josh Reynolds is old and becoming often injured. He's kind of always dinged up here and there, and he's a good contested catch guy, but that's kind of all he can do. He's not really a separator and whatnot. And then Jameson Williams, I'm about ready to say he's a bust.
He hasn't blossomed yet, that's for sure.
I mean, since he's come into the league, he's been nothing but banged up, if not suspended.
Dropping balls.
Yes, he can't catch with his hands, it appears. He has to body catch everything, and he seems to only be able to run go routes. So it's kind of I think it's pretty much going to turn into, you're going to see Amon-Ra, wide receiver 1. I think Donovan Peoples-Jones will actually slide into wide receiver 2. And then, they have Sam Laporta as well. But I think he's going to be
Jameer Gibbs
too. Yeah.
They could throw Jameer Gibbs in.
Oh, the running game. You don't even need to speak about how insane that is. I mean,
just have him he can be a receiver too. That's what he did in college. You can have him out there. So they added to their weapons.
Yes.
And the other trade, I guess personal to us, is Douglas leaving the Packers.
Yeah, that hurt, man. Personally, I liked Rasul.
I did too. It kind of sucks that he's gone. I mean, I don't know why they got rid of him.
I think they're waving the white flag on the year, honestly. I think there's a few things going on there. One thing about Rasul I'd like to say is not every player who plays for the Packers is a true Packer. Some dudes just play for the Packers. Rasul felt like he was a Packer. I mean, he just had that energy. He was a, nose to the grindstone type of dude. He worked his ass off every week. He always played hard, physical dude, loves the weather. I mean, sucks to see him go. At least we got what I think is fair compensation. I mean, you'd like to see a 2, but you're not going to get
it was a third.
Like yeah, you got a third.
Yeah.
Okay. But for the Packers, I think we're kind of waving the white flag on the season to a degree. Maybe not like to the point where we're sending the message to the locker room, but I think the front office is making moves right now, because now next year we have a 1, 2 2s, and 2 3s, 5 picks all in the first 3 rounds. Currently, we are set to pick like 6th or 7th or something like that overall in the draft.
That's a nice trade bait if they want to get up and get a QB.
I mean, I think it's kind of known in the building that Jordan Love is probably not going to be the guy that they thought that he had the potential to be. I'm not saying that he's like the worst thing in the league, but it's just he's not. I don't think it's going to work, and I think they're not going to come out and say it publicly. They're never. We don't know that. But I think they might be looking to move on from him. I just kind of think there's something working behind the scenes. That's my opinion.
Yeah. We'll talk more Packers stuff on Friday.
A lot of people here seem to think it's just a really long rebuild, but yeah, we'll save that for Friday.
The NFC North also had a big change with Josh Dobbs going to the Vikings.
Yeah, that was
good for him. One. Good for him for earning. He earned, even though what are they 1-6, 1-7 Arizona with him. He earned that job.
A scrappy 1-win team.
Yeah, so that's cool to see him. Yeah, it's cool to see him do that. I mean, all 3 other teams besides the Lions in the NFC North, they're kind of just a joke.
Yeah.
But like you said, who knows? It'll be a whole lot of off season. We have to see the rest of the season to see what's going to happen with these 3 teams as far as their quarterbacks. I mean, all 3 teams in the NFC North besides the Lions may have a different quarterback next year. So, yeah,
I mean, it's tough to say with Kirk. It's like, are they going to get off him? Are they going to keep him? Like, it's really tough. And it's not like, at least for Aaron Rodgers' sake, with a torn Achilles, it's like it happened right away, week 1. Like, he's got a 7-week, 8-week head start on Kirk Cousins, and it's like, so now Kirk Cousins, next season might be a little bit in jeopardy potentially. I'm not sure. I'm not a doctor, but just stuff to think about there. And it's like, that's really tough, man. I'm extremely happy for Josh Dobbs. Like you said, he more than earned it. I mean, he's a great dude. All reports I've ever heard is he's an incredibly smart guy. He's going to be some sort of like a rocket scientist, basically.
I think he has an aerospace engineering degree.
Yeah, exactly. So. And so it's like, and he's a really likable guy. The locker room always loves him. And you can see it on the field, man. The dude is a gamer. He balls out whenever he can. And he's really not bad. Yeah. He's got good skills. So yeah, good for him. Yeah. I think Minnesota's salvaged their season there. They might not be, like a deadlock playoff team and like super competitive, but I think they'll be sniffing around that with him.
I would see them trying to peek into a wild card there.
Yes, agreed.
You got any other big news, or should we go right into this Thursday night football game?
Yeah, let's dive right into this Thursday night game.
This is near and dear to my heart.
Yes, it is. Big week for you.
We had a little conversation here earlier this week, and I had the analogy that the Steelers operate an offense like you work for a boss that you don't like.
Pretty much.
It's just like they're not executing. I can't say they're not trying hard, but Najee Harris is not good right now. Yeah. I hope he proves us wrong. I hope he stops running into the back of people. Run through the hole, use your big body, get a run game going, man. And if he can't, sit him on the bench. And I mean, we got to do something different with this offense. I don't have a whole lot of hope. If I saw 1 touchdown or 10 points in the first half of this game, I would be ecstatic being a Steelers fan.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I just want to see something, but I'm not holding my breath. I mean, I'm kind of deflated watching Pittsburgh, the Steelers, and the Penguins right now. Pittsburgh's deflated, and something needs to change. I'm happy that Kenny Pickett's playing. He is a better option than Mitch. Mitch likes to throw picks.
Yes.
They're going to have it depends on which Steelers defense you're going to get. You could get the Steelers defense that shut down Etienne's run game, or you get the Steelers defense that let the Ravens run all over them. Like, who knows what you're going to get. Cam Hayward may be back. That could really help the run game to slow down Derrick Henry.
I mean, in regards to your comment there against Baltimore, I really think you got to chalk that up to division game. I mean, you guys got a good defense. I wouldn't say it's like stellar top 3, but like it's a good defense.
It's not bad, and they're pretty good against the pass. They're better against the pass than the Falcons.
Most definitely.
Who, I mean, You know that Levi Wallace, right? That's his name.
I believe so.
No, Will Levis. Sorry, Will Levis,
Oh, I thought
the
you were
rookie
talking
that came
about
in.
the defensive back.
No, no, no.
I think that's a
Uh,
defensive back.
um, Will Levis had a great game.
Oh, crazy.
But I mean, I also saw some of those throws, and I chalked that up to Atlanta not being great and D Hop having a crazy reach for a ball.
Dude,
He can
that
catch
last
things in a
one,
big
man.
radius.
That
He
last
did lay
touchdown.
he laid
That was
that one dime.
crazy.
I mean, but a couple of those helped his stats. You know, it's his first game. It'll be interesting to see what he's played one game, so it'll be
Well,
interesting to see how he how he plays against a more aggressive pass rush and better corners.
I agree with you where Atlanta's defense, leaves a lot to be desired, but I will say like that number one, the last touchdown that he threw, I mean, rolling to his right and then throwing back across his body to the left. And I mean, it was just a straight moon ball, just dropping the bucket.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah, like, dude, that not a lot of dudes can make that throw. That was pretty impressive. And the other thing that stood out to me is like, yeah, Atlanta's defense, yada yada, but number one, this was this like first real NFL action. That's a real NFL defense, even if it's a middle of the pack
Yeah,
defense. And it's like he
yeah,
seemed to read the field relatively well, and he did not lose in the game. He wasn't making bonehead mistakes.
yeah,
That to me, that's the big indicator is the decision making and are you mistake prone, stuff like
yeah,
that. Like that's huge. Like we were talking about earlier in the week between ourselves, accuracy and decision making. Those are the two things you need in a quarterback that you just
yeah,
can't coach or necessarily develop slash teach.
yeah. I mean, it's not a sample size when you play one game. It'll be
Correct.
interesting to see how, but it was cool to watch this dude ball out. That guy had a
Yeah,
better game than Kenny Pickett's ever had. Maybe he
it's
just went
true.
into it with a fuck it attitude. Maybe he was just like, yeah, you know what? I got nothing to lose. I was a second round pick. I'm just gonna ball out. And D Hop, I heard
Oh,
something on another
it's
radio.
it's
He's
D
like,
Hop.
I mean, that helps. Like,
Huge. He's a veteran
but
dude and he's a stud dude. Like I
but
guarantee you, he looked at Will Levis during the week was just like, "Hey, I'm out there. Just find me, throw me the ball
yeah.
every damn time." That's pretty much
And
probably what he said.
If the Steelers want to win, they need to say, or George Pickens needs to go to Pickett and say, throw me the ball. Throw
Yes.
me the ball the whole game. Chuck it up to me. I think there's some stat where the Steelers are 4-0 and they have over 200 yards of passing.
Wow.
And then they're only so
So that
there's
that
your
literally
sign.
speaks to how bad Matt Canada's play calling is. It's not the talent, it's the scheme.
I don't even
That's
yes.
wow. That stat just made me a little irate for you right there. That's crazy. Oh my goodness.
So it'll
Huh.
be interesting, man. I the line is -2.5. I'm not gonna take that.
Who's the
Um,
favorite? Pittsburgh?
Pittsburgh's favored. Um, I hope that Highsmith and Watt can get in this guy's face and cause some mistakes. Pat P hasn't been great this season, but him being a veteran playing against a rookie, he may make some smart decisions. Minka Fitzpatrick being out really hurts.
That's the big thing I look at.
But Joey Porter Jr. has been an elite cornerback since
He's
he's
been
been
really
playing
good.
this season.
Yeah, he's been really
Very,
good,
very good.
especially for a
So,
rookie.
yeah, so that'll be nice to have him in there. Tomlin this week said, he's earned enough. He's a starter. So
Yeah, I saw that
if you
quote.
get him, if you get Cam Hayward, Cam Hayward coming back, but losing Minka, I mean, obviously not the same position, but
It's a teeter
you're
totter,
helping
dude.
one. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're teeter tottering.
pass rush and pass coverage. It's a teeter totter. When
Yeah,
you want to help
I'd rather
one, lift
have
the other.
I'd rather have Hayward in this game. If I hope he plays, I'm not sure. I haven't read anything, but he was a full participant.
That's good to know.
Um, I don't know if it's just his progression because he was full participant in a couple days last week, but having him to stop Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry had another 100-yard game last week. So
Yeah,
it'll be
Derrick
interesting.
Henry is looking a little ageless. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's a Thursday night football game and two teams that are middle of the pack. They're just around. I mean, right now the Steelers are technically in a playoff spot. They're the number one wild card.
And that's crazy to say. Like,
There's, you can't deny those numbers.
you
They're
can't.
second in the AFC North. They're 2-0 in the AFC North. Like, who knows what team's going to show up? I don't know. I'm emotionally attached, but I'm trying not to be. But I mean, if they throw one crazy touchdown, I'm all in that game. But yeah, what do you think about it?
Yeah, well, I can relate to your emotional attachment comment there. Like I'm personally like living in the place of I'm no longer emotionally attached to the Packers. I'm emotionally attached to Aaron Rodgers until we have another quarterback. So that's my coping mechanism right now. But yeah, I kind of think this is one of those games where Pittsburgh is going to need the ball to bounce their way a little bit, and like we just talked about with Will Levis, he seemed to make good decisions, didn't lose them the game. Is that going to continue? Are
Yeah, we
the
don't have a
Steelers going
real
to
sample
expose
size.
him? Like that's
Yeah.
this game is truly to me a coin toss. The fact that it's Pittsburgh minus 2.5, I guess that probably shows you what Vegas thinks that Mike Tomlin and that defense can do to a rookie quarterback, essentially. So
I think that line being minus 2.5 is only because they're playing in Pittsburgh. I think
yeah.
that they think this is a dead even game.
Well, I mean,
Only
to be
thing that
fair, the Thursday night home team, like that's the only true like real home field advantage, unless you're in like one of the 2 or 3 stadiums in the NFL that literally crack eardrums wide open. So
yeah,
it's tough.
it's gonna be
I think
close.
I think I'm going to take the line, man. I'm going to take that.
Okay.
The Steelers looked a little bit better the last, like, I mean, without Trubisky, like, dude, they were hanging in there with the Jags, and then Kenny going down. I would have really liked to see how the rest of that game played out with Kenny Pickett. I do not think that Tennessee offense is nearly as dynamic as the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Jags are just good,
Yeah.
man. Like, I was
Yeah.
kind of wrong on them a little bit like earlier in the year. I'm like, they seem kind of fraudy, like who they really played. And it's like, dude, man, they showed up against Buffalo, man. And then the way they just took apart, like I said, I think you have a decent defense there in Pittsburgh. And like they didn't just like expose you, like they kind of gave it to you. And like in that kind of a weather game, like that's something you guys normally just you win that
Yeah. I mean,
9 out of 10
the
times. But
the
I think it's
Steelers
really
had
Kenny going down. So
last game the Steelers had 3 red zone stops.
yeah. Like that's
So
insane.
I mean, can a rookie overcome that? It's going to be interesting. I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to take the line. Maybe that's just me playing it down so that way I'm not as disappointed.
I think that honestly might be your subconscious working against you because I don't see it as all that unrealistic. Like, would I be surprised if I'm wrong? Not at all. But I don't know. I just think it's in Pittsburgh, Thursday night home team. That's a really, really high, like a really high emotion that Will Levis was riding last week and everything. I think he might kind of come down back to earth a little bit, but either way, I think it's going to be a dogfight. Pittsburgh going to take.
All right, man. Yeah, I hope you're right, dude. But
yeah, I mean, I'll be listening to the game tonight while I'm at work. So
tomorrow.
Yeah, I always do this on Wednesdays. Yeah, welcome to night shift where yesterday is today and tomorrow never comes. So
yeah. All right, man. Why don't you close us out here? I gotta get back in the office and finish up the day.
Good. Hopefully everybody has been sticking around and waiting to hear these outros and comment what you want us to talk about, hot takes, whatnot. Please be sure to like and subscribe, turn on those notifications. We will have another show coming your way on Friday. And yeah, I can't wait for this Thursday night game. So hope everybody had a great Halloween and have a great week, everybody.
Later.